Hi, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Hitstreak. Check it out. I got to give a big shout out to my show sponsor, my friends over at AVLX. I also have to give a big shout out to Charles Henry and Ace Young, the amazing performers and producers of the music behind the show, as well as the amazing people that make up the Hit Lab creative team, who are the producers of the show. Folks, I have a favor to ask. If you like what you hear, and I know you do, click that subscribe button to make sure you get alerted when new episodes are dropped. Thanks for tuning in.
The real success stories told by the people who live them.
We're going to have some guests on this show that everybody knows, and we're going to have guests on this show that nobody knows yet.
One by one, Nick Hyder is adding hits to the hit streak.
Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of The Hit Streak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder, and I've got a very, very special guest in the house for you folks. Today, he is the founder of Real Life Trading. He is the author of Money Grows on Trees. He's a podcaster from Broke to Woke. He's a friend, somebody I've known since like 2015, 2016. My man, Jerremy Newsome. What's up, baby?
I'm so amped to be here, dude. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So let me tell the folks a little bit about Jerremy, shall we? So in 2014, you launched Real Life Trading. And just like most other businesses that launch right out of the gates, everything was perfect. You were properly funded, immediately successful from day one. That's the story, right?
Is that what's on there? Did someone wrote that down incorrectly?
It's somebody else's story, as I've heard you say.
Someone else's story. That was not the case. I love what I do immensely. And launching Real Life Trading in 2014, I was creating free education, free content, mostly because I had gone through so many seminars and webinars and presentations in my life. I didn't want to make price a barrier anymore for individuals who wanted to learn education, specifically financial education, stock market education, how to invest. And when I launched, man, I got lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit because this information was free and the competition did not like that.
I would guess not.
Yeah. So it was a tough one.
So, all right. You have an amazing story. One of my favorite stories, you've told it to me, you've shared it with the team, about kind of like how you got into this, because I want a little bit of backstory on, like, not many people wake up and do what you did. They say that that's what they want to do. Like I would say you're the only person I've ever met that has a story like that, right? So let's tell the folks a little bit about how you got into this, because it's a fascinating story.
Yeah. It all started from a movie. So the movie was Forest Gump. We're going back to 1996. Tom Hanks winning his Academy Award. Go Tom. And when that movie comes out in 1994, I was 6 years old. Never seen the movie before. I mean, my dad, my oldest brother, Jerry Roger, and myself were watching this film, and Forrest Gump, about 78% of the way through the movie, starts recounting a story. He says that he takes his Bubba Gump shrimp money and invests into a fruit company. And now they no longer have to worry about money anymore. Bro, I grew up so poor. Really, really poor. I had a blessed childhood, just didn't have any money.
Sure.
Was happy, just broke. Well, I asked my dad, what is investing and what's the fruit company? Because that was a paradigm shift for me. We no longer have to worry about money anymore. I'd never heard anyone utter those words before. He told me about Apple and told me a little bit about the stock market to the best of his ability. When he was explaining Apple to me, he was saying that people are going to be buying, right, the computer like you have right now. People are going to be using these items, these tools. They're going to replace employees. They're going to decrease costs, increase revenue. I was like, well, Dad, we need to do this then. Like, that sounds like a no-brainer decision. And he's like, well, son, I don't have any money. We can't just go invest in Apple, right? Money doesn't grow on trees.
Oh,
the classic. I was like, well, I mean, we need to do this. So I begged him for a few months. He eventually said, listen, if you bring me some money, 6-year-old son, and I'll match it dollar for dollar. So I go and pick blackberries, sell them door to door in the summer of 1994, make $1,500 selling blackberries for $1 a bag.
Get out.
Yeah, bro, slinging berries. But the closing rate was pretty high. I'm a 6-year-old kid in jean shorts, no shoes, no shirt, going up to your door selling blackberries for really 75% lower than you can get them in the store, hand-picked, organic blackberries. Plus, you had a bunch of older ladies who gave me 10s and 20s because I'm just there.
Yeah.
And I mean, if a 6-year-old comes to your door right now and sells you anything
Anything he wants, I'm buying.
it doesn't matter. Nick's in. All the 6-year-olds who are listening.
All of it. Anytime somebody knocks on the door for a coupon book or whatever, my son's selling the same ones, all of them.
Done. Yes. And yeah, man. So he true to his word, he actually ended up borrowing the money from my uncle. We bought $3,000 of Apple stock in 1994. And right now that's worth about $16.8 million.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I mean, we sold them $16.7 million ago. But
Yeah.
the point was, like, when I was 12, we sold those shares, the top of the tech bubble, purely luck, obviously. We took $3,000, turned it into $12,000. My dad said, this is the best trade you'll ever make in your life. You need to cash out. This is it. This is the pinnacle. Gave me 12 grand as a 12-year-old. And I'm like, this is it. This is all I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Dude, that's what a great parenting choice, first of all, as parents, right?
Yeah.
We do this. We've been doing the same thing with Ethan, where anytime he wanted to buy something, if it was $20, he had to pay 10. We had to pay 10. Starting next year when he's 13, we're going to do that thing where just to get him learning to pay things on time, we're going to put the money in his account, but he's going to have to give it to us on certain days throughout the month for his phone or whatever else he's doing. The money will be there. Just can he give it to us
Precisely.
on time?
Precisely. We have to teach kids as early as possible that, hey, man, dream as much as you want, but there's still certain actions and tactical buttons that need to be pressed to fulfill those dreams.
He's coming out of the gate swinging today, folks. I love it.
Yeah, man.
I love it. All right. So the apple was the apple in Forest Gump.
That was it. And, you know, I was actually having a coaching session with a hero of both of ours, Les Brown.
Oh, yeah.
About 4 or 5 months ago. And we were kind of recounting the story because he was helping me tell it like on stage and whatnot. You know what was crazy, man? It was actually not the part that Forrest Gump no longer had to worry about money anymore. That wasn't what compelled me. It's what happened right after that story in the movie. You might remember, but right after he says, we don't have to worry about money anymore. He goes on to build schools, churches, hospitals. You know, he gives half of his money to Bubba's mom, so she no longer has to work, so he retires her for the rest of her life. Mm-hmm. That was what compelled me to do this, was the fact that using this money, you can just amplify your heart's desires, and you can give, and you can be the best version of yourself. That was what just jacked me up. It wasn't, hey, make money. It was, you make money. Once you have enough, you're good. And then help so many other people, bless so many other people with it.
Right. We, where I grew up middle class, and that was a long way from where my parents were born. Mm-hmm. However, I heard a lot, money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford it. I heard all those limits all the time, and people that don't have money tend to villainize it.
Yes.
Right?
Very true.
And I was listening to a thing the other day. So my man Brad, he says money buys choices, right? But he was like, if you take somebody bad and you give them more money, they'll be a worse version. They'll be more true to themselves. If you take somebody good and give them a lot of money, they'll be a better version.
Right. Totally agree.
Of themselves.
Totally agree.
And it was Steve Harvey who said, the only people who talk bad about money don't have it.
Yep. Yep.
So, all right. So 2014, you launched Real Life Trading. How old were you in 2014?
2014 is 7 years ago, so I was 24.
24. So why 2014? Why then? Why not earlier? Why not later?
You know, honestly, there was no real specific magic timeline. It was, I had quit a Fortune 500 company in 2012 and had left there, wanted to pursue just education in general, just really wanted to pour into individuals. I initially wanted to be a history teacher when I was like 13 years old. And I asked my history teacher, hey man, how much money can you make me in a history teacher? And he's like, dog, you don't want to be a history teacher for the money.
Right.
And I just learned through that process that my goal was to really impact individuals through education. My current life's mission is to enrich lives with mentally liberating education. Mm. So in 2012, when I left Nationwide Insurance, great company, still like them, you know, phenomenal people. The shift that happened at Nationwide, there was actually two to 3 main shifts that caused me to leave that company to go trade full time, then to eventually launch real life trading. Number 1, I took a self-directed 401k. I Googled, this was my investing career. I Googled which silver stock to buy. First one that popped up, put all my 401k money into that one, right? That was it. Stock was at $9 a share. I bought 1,000 shares, $9,000 investment, went up to $12 a share, $12,000. I made $3,000. That $3,000 P&L on my screen was more than I made in a month at work.
Right.
Right at the time, I made like $1,800 a month bi-weekly paychecks. That was mind-blowing to me. Made $3,000, more than I made at work. Boom, paradigm shift. Number 2, I had a sales job and nationwide, and the previous person who worked in this job, she had done like $1 million and some change in sales, and I had done like $1.5 million. And so my question was, we were just getting paid salary. We weren't getting paid commission. So I asked, like, hey, I did $500,000 more than the person prior in this role. Can I get some?
Thank you.
Right? I was like, can I get like 10% at least? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not really incentivizing me to work here. So that was number 2. And then number 3, I won, because of my sales record, I won an award to have an interview with the CHRO, Chief Human Resource Officer of that company at the time, which was kind of a big deal. She comes down, says, hey, what do you want to do in Nationwide? What's your career? What's your goal? I said, I want to be CEO. And bro, she laughed in my face.
Oh, man.
She was like, she started laughing. I was like, no, seriously, that's cool. What do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
But dude, I was just like, I want to be CEO. Why else would someone work in a company if they don't want to own it?
Absolutely.
If they don't want to run it, if they don't want their decisions to be what makes this company great or it makes them fail. I love that pressure. So when she told me, like, she literally said, it's not going to happen. Sorry. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I turned in like my notice not too long after that, started trading full time, worked for another company. And during that 2 years, just started cash flowing and stacking my cash as hard as I possibly could. And in 2014, I launched Real Life Trading.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You mentioned pressure. Pressure bursts pipes, and it also makes diamonds, right?
Ooh, that's it, baby.
You know what I'm saying?
Hit that for you. Hit that for you.
One of my favorite quotes that's on a plaque out in the hallway, I believe it's William Arthur Ward. Adversity, what is it? Adversity causes some men to break. Adversity causes some men to break records.
That's money. That's that's so good. I love that.
Absolutely. So, all right. So you launched Real Life Trading in 2014. So, first of all, folks, you heard the reasons that he started it, right? It was you knew what you were worth. You knew what you wanted to, a version of what you wanted to be, and you realized quickly that the way to get there was you had to basically, nobody was going to give you a handout to get there.
No.
Right. And it sounded like not many people were going to give you a hand up to get there either.
Correct.
So you were going to do it on your own.
Correct. Yep. And because I knew I've always had sales capabilities, and I tell individuals all the time, the fastest way to creating a cash flow rich, positive financial situation is sales. Step 1. And you know that very well.
Absolutely.
That's the first step. Get there, and then you can start worrying about your investments or what you're doing, but get to a place where where your income exceeds your expenses, because you can only scale your expenses to a degree. I love my boy Ramsey, but I don't want to eat ramen noodles and chicken every day. Like, I want to eat nice food. I want to eat healthy food. I want to eat salads, because salads are 4 times more expensive than a cheeseburger. I want to eat healthy foods. They cost more money. I want to invest in my body. That costs more money. I want to go on trips and do triathlons and buy a road bike. All those cost money. I don't want to scale my expenses where I live for $3,000 a month. Mm-hmm. I want my expenses to be $30,000 a month, but I want my income to be $240,000 a month. Mm-hmm. How can I do that? It's just a different question. Because at one point in time, I mean, in the Broke to Wealth podcast, I share this, but in my early 20s, I was $400,000 in debt because I lost a bunch of people's money that I was trading for them. So the question I started asking at 21 and a half was, how can I make $6,000 a month? That covered $4,000 a month of expense payments to pay other people back and $2,000 a month to live off of. Mm-hmm. Food, rent, gas, and that was it. Well, after I made $6,000 a month for 2 or 3 months, I started asking, how can I make 7? And then 8. And then I started asking questions on how can I become valuable enough to make $10,000 a month. Not how can I make $10,000 a month? How can I become valuable enough to create $10,000 a month? It's a different question, man. Like you're going to get a different answer because if you say, how can I make $10,000 a month? Work harder. How can I create enough value to create $10,000 a month? Totally different question.
You always hear the most important thing you find in your life is the day you find your why, right? Mm-hmm. But like, you got to have the how too. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to have the how Absolutely. As well.
Yeah.
And that was what I keep hearing you saying you were asking yourself is how. And then you reverse engineer it and put the plan together and then go make it happen.
That's it, baby. It's not your resources, it's your resourcefulness.
Oh my goodness.
Because everyone has money and everyone has time. You might not have tons of money, but everyone has the exact same amount of time. So these variables don't really change that much. You have to spend one of those two things. Always. I'd rather spend money because money is your least valuable asset. I'd rather spend money to go get time. Time is my most valuable asset. If I spend time to make money, that's an inverse equation. And asking how changes that equation to put more value on time than money.
Right.
Yeah.
If you grew up middle class or below, obviously Ramsey speaks extremely true to you, right? And there's a lot of good stuff in there. Absolutely. 100%. You need to know that stuff and understand it. But then on the other side, you got like the Kiyosakis of the world who are talking about debt's either a liability or an asset. It's taking money and turning it asset. Bradley says money's just a tool. He says it's not that you need to save your money. It's you can't afford not to spend it if you're spending it in the right places. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like in the world that we're in, we've been we're very similar in the fact that we like to educate. We like to get knowledge and share it, right? So being a fan of day trading, I wouldn't say I'm an experienced, accomplished person at all, but I'm a fan of it. As a younger person, when I didn't have money, I was extremely scared of it.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you see the difference between like, I don't know, the economic classes and openness? Like how quickly does somebody become unafraid of it just by, how that works?
Oh, that's a great question. How quickly does someone become unafraid of trading or investing? Honestly, man, within months. Because here's what will happen. Very, very frequently, people will take a certain amount of money. It doesn't matter what it is. $100, $5, $10. Take that money and invest it into a company that you know exactly what they do. You love their product. You understand how they create income. You spend money on those products. Let's do a quick example, right? Apple, bang. They make $90 million an hour net. Mm-hmm. You can invest in Apple.
Absolutely.
Fine, right? How many people listening have an iPhone? You're watching from your iPhone. Or if you have a Netflix account, Netflix is up 180% in the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. Do you shop at Wayfair? It's up 800% in the last 3 years. Do you shop at Target? It's up 400% in the last 6 years. Do you have a Visa? Do you have a MasterCard in your wallet? Basic, easy things. Companies that you use and interact with frequently start taking some money and just buying positions, buying shares, buying ownership of that company. Even if you, in your mind, you're going to say, well, $100 isn't going to move the needle. No, it won't. But you keep doing it.
Right.
It starts moving the needle because it starts adding and it'll start compounding. Eventually, hundreds of thousands, and the thousands 2,000, then 2 is 8, then 8 is 16, then 16 is 32. Now, that might take 4 years, maybe 10, but the act of doing it is a lot stronger than the act of not doing it. Les Brown said in order to start, you got to start. So just start doing it.
That's right.
It'll remove your fear, even if you do it for 2 or 3 months and you see that it's not rigged, right? You see your account like that green P&L, even if it's $3, that'll change your life forever. Just seeing that you took knowledge and converted knowledge into more currency will change your life forever.
I heard something the other day where they were talking about getting the person to invest their last $1,000, the only $1,000 they had, to invest it, and the person was like, "I can't. It's my last $1,000." And the rebuttal was, "Dude, you're broke. Like you can't afford not to put that $1,000. What's that $1,000 going to do for you? Nothing.
Yeah.
Right." And they brought up the word risk, and they rebutted it with the rebuttal was, risk is just not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. If you know what you're doing, it's not risk.
Correct.
Right?
I had a dear friend, one of the best success stories I can think of. Her name was Angela. She came to one of my events here in Nashville, Tennessee about 3 years ago. Well, it was 2017, so 4 years ago. And she sat down with me. She was in her 60s at this time and had $3,500 to her name and a house. Like that was her asset. And a house and $3,500 to her name. Boom. And she said, Jerremy, what should I do? What should my strategy be? I don't want to hit rock bottom. Like, I don't want to lose all my money. I'm scared. I only have so much money to work with. And I looked at her and I was like, baby girl, you got $3,500. You're already at rock bottom.
Yeah.
You're here. I know how it feels. I've been here. But if you're in your 60s and you got $3,500 and a house, you are at rock bottom. You're there. So I said, remove the fear, because two things are for certain. Market's going to go up. Market's going to go down. You can make money both ways. You just have to know how to do it. And you're going to die one day. Those are some certainties that you can factor in. So if you start acting now and remove that fear because you're already at rock bottom, so the only thing you can do is go up from here, it will absolutely help make some shifts in your life, and you can go out and create some income. Bro, she is now, I'm not kidding, a liquid millionaire, traveling the world and doing everything she wants. She makes like $10,000 a week. Because what she ended up doing was renting out her house to some college students. Mm-hmm. They stayed with her. She would cook for them, right? So they paid her a bunch of money. So she started stacking bills and then started just making $200-$300 extra a week, because with a leveraged account and trading, you can do that even with $3,000. But her house was paid for. Boom, 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 boom. Just start stacking paper. And over 2-3 years, you have $20,000 in your account, making $1,000 a week, trading, actively day trading. That can start changing things drastically.
Leverage. That's a good word.
Yeah. Then she wanted to be free. So she sold her entire house, and her and her husband, Brian, started traveling the world, doing whatever they wanted to do, which is the coolest thing ever.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, isn't that what everybody wants to, they work their whole life to retire to do that.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So, my wife and I's relationship was, first of all, you need to have a good relationship with money. Most people, I would say, don't have a good relationship with money, if they have any relationship at all. I learned it through leveraging AI and CRMs and stuff to use data as a tool to grow, to grow and invest in. And one day, Rhea and I were sitting around talking like we do all the time, and I asked her, I was like, if our money was a person, what would it be doing for us?
Hit the button, bro. If you heard that question, I want anyone who's listening to this episode to ask that question at least once a week to their spouse or their significant other. Bro, earlier you mentioned about the relationship with money. Most people don't even know that you can have a relationship with money. But doing what you just mentioned, that is a game changer.
Right.
Game changer.
That's right. So how does somebody create a relationship with money from when they don't have one that's non-existent?
Here is the first step. It's going to sound kooky, but I promise it works. I've had 3 of my coaches, my money coaches, kind of make me do this exercise at one point or another in my career. It's write a letter to money. So sit down, pen and paper, write a letter to money. So pretend that money is a person. Okay, so it's instead of Martha, it's money.
Yep.
Hi, money. Where have you been? You've been absent in my life for a long time. I've missed you. I need you in my life. Every time I sit down and go to sleep, I wish you were there, right? So you start writing this letter, and then you read it a few times, and you'll realize generally most people have what's called a scarcity mindset. They want money to be in their life, but they don't know why. They don't know why money's not there. They're scared of it. They kind of push it away. But when you start writing that letter, once it's there, here's the brilliant part. You can rewrite it 2, 3, 4 weeks later and just forcefully create the most abundant, loving, kind relationship. Money, you're freaking awesome. I love having you in my life. You're so cool. Every time we hang out, you make amazing things appear. You buy amazing things for me. We take amazing trips together. You're the coolest, most amazing relationship that I have. Thank you, blah, 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 right? You're writing a whole different letter now.
Yeah.
That's what relationships are. Relationships are words, thoughts, and beliefs towards someone else. Because if you, with your perfect wife and your phenomenal family, if you said, hey, I don't like you very much. If you said that every day, first of all, you'd go to the hospital because
That's right.
you would crush you. You'd have a black eye every day. But secondly, the relationship will be weaker because you say these negative words out loud. Imagine how powerful those words, if you say them both out loud and internally in your brain, become. You have to change those words, those thoughts, and those beliefs. And once you start making that shift, money will become more attracted to you.
So that's interesting because what makes your subconscious is you don't know it's happening, right?
Correct.
You're not aware of it most
Correct.
of the time. So I heard a saying one time. They said, have you ever seen a kid that was born rich that's just a total fool, a total idiot, but he'll always have money because that's all that he knows? Mm-hmm. Just like you take somebody that was born with none, and that's how it's almost like you got to break out of that. Well, it's a generational sin, I guess you could say.
There are shifts that have to be made, right? Both individuals in that situation have an entirely different resistance to break through. So, for example, money, a lot of individuals will say money doesn't solve all of your problems. My friends, money will solve all of your money problems.
Right.
What happens over time is once you start making about $70,000 a year, you don't have any money problems anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, truly, you can go to the store and buy essentially whatever you want to live off of, to eat. Your mortgage or rent's paid for, your car is paid for. You can take a trip or two. Like, you can buy things now. Money's no longer a money problem to you if you make $70,000 or more a year. Realistically, even if you have a few kids, like, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
However, if you have tons of money and money is attracted to you and everything is brilliant and you have all the money you could possibly need, you definitely don't have any money problems. So now the resistance that you'll face is your relationship with others, how you portray yourself, your subconscious thoughts, your beliefs about individuals, human experiences, right? Appreciation, gratitude. Those are things that start to shift back into fulfillment and alignment with your body, because you can have an entirely different mindset about money because you have tons, but you need a different heart set now.
Right.
So you can have a mindset, but you need to have a heart set too. A mindset will change your money problems, but heart set will change your actual problems.
That's fantastic. All right. So just because a lot of our listeners are getting into startup, they're in startup. Startup lasts a really long time for most. You're in it until you're not. And a lot of times that's a mindset as well. Just being a fan of money. We've made all of ours, I guess, the hard way. So like being an athlete, I used to train my body all the time.
Yeah, bro, you're ripped. Congrats.
Well, I appreciate that. But why train? Like, the most important muscle in your body is the one up top, and most people don't train that, right? So you got to exercise that one as well. And it's easier now than ever because of podcasts like yours, and which is absolutely. I can't tell people enough how phenomenal the production is. It's really, really good.
Thanks for that.
But like, people don't train it as much, right? So how did you? You weren't born the way you are. You were raised a certain way, and how did you change your paradigm and learn that limits are created and most of the time within oneself and all that stuff? Like, you have a very positive outlook on life. If we used your voicemail as an example for the team the other day, right? I'm like, this is what a voicemail sounds like. So how did you do that?
I'll answer that with two answers. I'll answer that question. So first, the positivity, I don't know. That's always been here as far as I can remember. I mean, yes, my mom and dad, truly some of the greatest people on planet Earth, but they're also not the most positive individuals, right? They're kind of just like mediocre, like, they're semi-optimistic, but I'm like annoyingly optimistic, I think, for most people. So the positivity, I'm not sure, man. I've just always had that. However, the mindset and the beliefs and like the brain exercising and coming up with the information that I feel like I can store and then regurgitate to individuals, simplicity, books and experiences. So you have to read books. If you want more money, read books with money in the title. If you want a better relationship, read books with the relationship in the title. You have to study this stuff. Every time I see a book, I imagine that there's a $100 bill somewhere in that book.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Somewhere in this book, there's $100. Even if it's not a physical book, it could be an audible. I go in and I go, okay, somewhere in here there's $100. Let me see if I can find it. Because if I can spend $10 to make 100, who wouldn't do that? It's easy, easy math. So I've done that for many, many years, usually a book a month, almost without question. Sometimes two, an Audible and a physical book. Well, number one, that's investing in your brain. That's that exercise, right? Reading. Most individuals will read 4 to 5 books their entire life once they get out of college, right? That's staggering. Like, I'll do that before the end of the year.
Right. That's right.
So number one, read more books, study the thing in the title that you want more of, go buy books with that in there. And the number two, experiences. You mentioned earlier when we were talking off camera that a lot of individuals do not spend time doing things that they're afraid of, obviously, because they're afraid of them. So create experiences where you invest into yourself. You go and you spend money on something that you don't know what's going to happen at the end. A lot of people go buy a car, a house, right? Wine, bourbon, because they can see, touch, feel, and understand this thing. Very few people will go and spend $10,000 to go to a retreat on a private island because they say, I don't know how that, I don't know. I don't know how that experience is going to be.
Right.
Right? Those experiences will not only change your life, but will change your finances to a degree that you cannot even imagine, mostly because you're putting yourself into an environment that was curated for you to excel. And you will stop yourself just because of the fear that's not tangible.
Oh, man. So, books and experiences.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. The experiences are super, super key because you have to experience it, right?
Yeah, that could be anything, man. It could be skydiving. You have to create different neurons in your brain, and the only way you can do that is with things you never experienced before. It can be, I don't know, going to a restaurant, eating in the dark. Anything. You got to create these things that you've never done before so you can create new pathways, and the new pathways allow new knowledge to come into your brain, literally. So, for example, if someone's listening to this and you've never tipped your waitress or waiter a 300% tip before, go do that, right? You got a $25 meal. Most people tip $3, $4, $5. Tip $100. Now that bill's $125. Is that going to change your life? No. Will that change the waiter's life? Yes.
Right.
So start doing things like that. It doesn't have to be all the time, but just these little experiences that will truly create new pathways in your brain.
And new experiences are extremely scary for most folks.
Yes.
So I told you off camera, I was like, every time the movie Yes Man comes on, I think of Jerremy Newsome. I do because I knew what you were doing the whole time you've been doing it, and the book and the show and just the growing business like crazy. But like, you were always doing something that I was like, dang, like how did he even think to do that? Whether it be some form of like, what is it that you've done where you were running through gauntlets and it looked like American Gladiators outside? What was that?
That was the Spartan race.
The Spartan race.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So just like, I mean, not many people wake up and say, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. The physical challenges I've created mostly because there are very few things that you can fully control and also be 100% accountable for. Physicalness is one of them.
Yeah.
It's your body. So you can wish for all kinds of things, and sometimes they'll be given to you, sometimes they won't. So someone that has tons of money, but they're a giant fat slob, I don't respect them that much.
Agreed.
Because I'm like, you have all this money to put all the time and energy into your body. That's your only, like that. That's a way more important resource and asset than your money. Right. Because it's your only body. You're going to die soon.
Right.
So I try to challenge myself with things like, Spartan races. I bear crawled a 5K 4 weeks ago. That took 3 hours.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I did a 100-mile race. I've done things that would scare a lot of individuals. And it's not because I'm good at them or better than other people. It's because I need to create those challenges to create those new neural pathways so I can learn something new.
You've you're truly a person that does what they say. They walk the walk. Yeah. They don't just talk the talk. So, and I just freaking love that about you, man. Like that's something that's always been attractive to me because I was that type of guy. I would never ask somebody to do something that I haven't already done or wouldn't just go do it right there with them.
Yes.
At that moment. But it's inspired me, man, because like everybody else, we all have our issues, our demons, whatever it is, and like especially when you have a family and kids, you every decision. I don't know. I guess I just spend more time thinking about it, making sure, because it affects more people than just me now, people that I care about more than anything, right?
Yeah. So you mentioned everyone has some demons and issues. What's one of yours?
Oh, that's a good question. So mine was, I grew up. Dad was in the music business. Mom was front and center in everything that we did. I was a really good athlete and stuff, but I didn't know I was an introvert in school. I didn't understand a lot of things. My biggest demon is I didn't really get to know myself. Truly know myself till I was probably like 36, 37 years old, if not like last week.
Yeah, that's a big one though, man. That's a big one because people like you and I, we will spend so much time pleasing others and trying to give to others, especially as dads. Like dads take on that role a lot. Like we'll put a lot of weight on our shoulders and go, okay, wife and kids and everyone other than me, let me make sure you're taken care of. First of all, what exposed me to that, and honestly, what was the start of the healing was my wife is so far out of my league that it took me like 9 years to get my first date, right? And then once I had it, I honestly was just like, well, this ain't gonna last long. She's gonna see right through this. And I was struggling because at that time I just retired from professional sports. I really didn't know. I just knew I had to be good at something, but I didn't really know what it was. Yeah. I don't know, man. I was lost. But like, I wasn't even a husband yet, but I wasn't great for her. And like, by wanting to be better for her, like be as good as her, like that's how I started to change and figure out that for me, like I didn't have to be insecure about it. Like I had her and she made me better. And then having a kid, that changed a lot too. 100%. You have to step up in those situations. But what you did was you got out of your comfort zone, which is essentially experiencing something you've never experienced before, AKA being with a model, right? I mean, you and I are ugly as sin.
Yes, we are, dude.
So the fact that someone would say yes to us who is as beautiful and angelic as they are, like we have to level up our game because it's an experience that we don't know about. So we have to like rise up and elevate to a space where not only we can be confident in that role, but we can understand what we are required to be in order to be in that role.
I used to maybe think maybe I was a bad dad, bad person or whatever. I wasn't bad. I just wasn't as good as I knew I could be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just I had to be better. I still have to be better.
Me too, man. I'm with you.
And great is great today until you push through and get to the next level. Like it's endless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So never satisfying that. So, all right, we could go on and on about so much stuff, but I want to make sure like, so the folks are tuning in. One, I want to catch them up on, you've made a lot of personal changes lately. But I also want to give them like the experts that are listening about trading that are looking to get some nuggets from you today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to make sure that we get into that as well. So which one do you want to do first? You want to do your new parent, new husband? Like you've made a lot of changes, dude. Yeah. And it's fantastic. Your circle is growing out and fast. It's fantastic.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I said I didn't want kids because I wasn't with the right person. And that's one of those very common just beliefs or statements that I think a lot of individuals will make. But, you know, in your 20s, your late 20s, you might not want children. That's okay. But as you start maturing and you start finding the person that you want, what I had to end up doing was creating that letter. Like earlier we talked about the letter to money. I had to write a letter for my perfect person. Like, who was that? And for me, it was a she, right? Like, what does she look like? What does she emulate? What's her characteristics? And this letter was like 5 pages long, handwritten, and just left it alone after that. And when I met Svetlana, I was like, yeah, this is her. She is it. She fulfills everything in that letter. And so that makes me perfectly happy. I'm extremely, extremely happy.
Let me see if I can get this right, because I used to say, I told my son a lot. He's like, how'd you know mom was the one? I was like, well, growing up, I always knew who she was. I just didn't know what her name was and what she looked like.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So
that's right.
So I was not chasing things that you chase run from you. So I was seeking a certain person, just like I've learned to seek a certain lifestyle, a certain business, a certain lot of things, right? most people don't know how to do that. Most people just kind of exist. Life happens to them. It's not, they're like their life's running them. It's not happening to them, I guess is the right way to say that maybe. But like, so you, by writing letters, dude, that's brilliant. That's absolutely, I'm going to do that.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, you'll love it because it actually correlates very well. I mean, I'm an investing nerd. It correlates very well to investing and trading as well.
Yeah.
Because you can do the exact same letter to your future self about investments and try to find out what you want to invest in. So for example, for me, I want to invest in companies that are good for the earth, companies that are sustainable, things that are growing and putting out essentially what's called a force for good company. There's more good in the world because this company exists. One example, Tesla. Hello. I mean, people are like, they're overvalued. I'm like, doesn't matter. The car drives itself.
Yeah.
You know, most people don't know that. Like,
Right.
When I leave here, I'm going to touch the steering wheel like 6 times to get to my house. It drives itself. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Number 3, like the employees have to love it. There has to be some kind of betterment in the world because this company exists. You can write down your values, your beliefs, what you want out of this world, and then match companies that do that. And then once you match companies that do that, go invest in them. Even if it's 1 share a month, just start buying it, because if you don't start now, you won't ever start. So just start doing it, and you'll be thankful that you did 4 or 5 years from now. Even if it's Bitcoin, even if it's Ethereum, even if it's a crypto asset, slowly start creating these assets and treating them like savings accounts. I don't have a savings account at all. I take all my savings and I put it into an asset that's going to go up over time.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just wise to do that. But when you're talking about the letters, it works for everything, man. So some companies that I absolutely love long-term, Tesla, without question. Right now, it's at about $1,072. It'll be $2,000 by this time next year. Upwork, so UPWK, they're a force for good company. So essentially, let's say, Nick, that you are really good at Excel. And you're like, man, I'm so good at Excel. I want people to pay me for my excellence on Excel. So you put your information on there. Someone pays you $40 an hour to create this information on Excel. The company gets what they need. They're happy. The company exchanges money to you. You're happy. And Upwork takes a small fee of that. Force for good company. Great company. It's like $40 a share right now. Great buy. It's gone from 40 to 60, which is a 20% return numerous times. 4 or 5 times in the last year. It's gone from 40 to 60 over and over and over. That's incredible.
Why do you think, and this is going back to the rookies again, why do rookies, like most of them, if they're W-2, they don't expect, they're literally saving for 20, 30, 40 years, right? Before, they're putting stuff into 401ks or whatever it may be, savings accounts and things like that, and they don't expect to use it or even get a return or even see the growth. But then they'll look at somebody like you and be like, hey, I want to invest in this. And then 2 months later, they're like, hey, man, where's my money?
Yeah.
Where's the break in the correlation? Like, why is it almost a different language to the average American?
I think individuals are extremely inspired by success. And so when I see a professional sports athlete, I get all blown away because I know how good they are. And I'm like, oh, man. I can be that. There's no way it takes that much time, effort, and energy and work. How hard is it to hit a fastball?
Yeah, it's hard.
That's
right.
I don't. I have a zero idea, kind of an idea. But essentially, when you see someone who's perfected their craft, you only see the result, right? You see the ice cream, the sundae, the sprinkles, the banana, all the fun things, and you're like, all right, I'm just going to eat that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, our ceiling can be their floor. So people can use all of our experiences to absolutely supersede so many of the failures that they might experience on this journey. However, you see the result. You don't see that I have done this for 12 years, 7 hours a day, every single day for the last 12 years. What about Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. What about your birthday? My birthday, your birthday, Jesus' birthday, my mom's birthday. I'm doing it all. 7 hours a day without question. And I work harder than you. So if you're sitting there saying to yourself, oh, well, I can be this as quickly as you can, good luck. Because you're going to have to put in the time. But that's with everything.
Dude.
That's with everything, my man.
So a lot of times people walk in the room for an interview or something, and they'll say, Nick, I'm here because I've watched you, I've followed you, I want what you have. And I'm like, dude, you can totally have it if you're willing to go through what I went through to get it.
Yep.
And that's the difference. That's what separates the men from the boys. It's the same in sports. I use that analogy a lot. I was like, guys, I played the game of baseball. And first of all, I didn't make a lot of money doing it, okay? I made some money doing it, not a lot, not even enough to really live on, okay? Yeah. But I played for 19 years before I ever made a penny.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I was an amateur for 19 years doing it, and then that's not even training it. So I was like, all right, well, let me dial it down even further. The off-season training and the workouts were months and months and months before we ever played the first pitch in front of a fan or a parent or anything. But people won't equate that same. Even athletes sometimes won't do that at work.
Mm-hmm. No, they won't. Right. I mean, it's just I've done this, I deserve this now mentality, and that's okay. It's human nature.
Yeah.
Human nature, we want things faster and quicker and more efficient, and that's perfectly fine. You just have to give people a realistic expectation. I mean, you're the king of customer service, and so when you're talking to an individual, they want all their problems solved now, immediately, forever, for free.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my friends, it's generally not the case. And so when you work with someone who might not know this information, the best thing I can possibly do is just try to give them a time expectation and let them know that it will take longer than you want, but it will absolutely happen if you start putting in the work now.
Yeah.
But it definitely won't if you don't.
I love it when people ask, well, how long will it take? I'm like, you want to find out?
I'm using that from here on out.
Dude, it's that simple.
Yeah.
You want to find out? It's a little different for everybody.
Love that.
And we figured out, too, somebody was asking me, what's the difference between like a college and a professional athlete? I'm like, well, so coaching my son's baseball teams, when he was younger, we were just trying to get him, like, if he was going to hit the wall, just hit the wall, versus a big leaguer is trying to hit a spot on that wall, the smallest, the person that's the best at anything can hit the smallest targets, right? And how does that factor into? So first of all, somebody comes to work with you guys, you're giving them the tools, like, to empower them to learn, to grow, all that kind of stuff. I learn a lot from my customers and clients every day. I learn from my agents. I learn from my kids. I learn from everybody. That's a choice, right? So how does the relationship with you and your clients, what does that look like? How does that work?
It can depend on the client, and my current avatar, the individual that I'm seeking to work with right now, generally they've had a lot of experience in their field. So oftentimes it's musicians, actors, professional athletes, people who people who have spent 20 years plus doing something, and now they have some money. And they're like, okay, well, that part of my life is partly over, or it's about to be over, and so I want to learn something new. I want to explore new fields. I want to take the money that I have, because I'm seeing it. I got $2 or $3 million, but that's probably not going to last forever,
right?
Because I got kids and I want to travel. So how do I make this money grow a little bit? Those are generally the clients that I work with. But for me, my main objective is to, number one, help them understand things they don't know about money, about finances, about the stock market, because there are rules and there are buttons that you have to press to create success in investing. Perfect example. Most people have no idea that you can rent out your stocks, right? So if you own 100 shares of pretty much any major company, you can rent out that stock and get rent income just like you can for a house. That's a strategy that people have to learn how to do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's okay, but most people don't. Most people also don't know you can buy insurance on a stock, right? So if it goes down, you're protected just like a house, car, health, whatever else. And if done the right way and the right time, you can rent out your stock, take your rent money to buy your insurance, so you can create an unlosable trade for a certain period of time.
I'll be dang. How about that?
Bro, crazy town. And this works on stocks like Apple, Tesla, Square, Nvidia, Google, Micron, Tech. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Knowing what to do. That's one of my goals, man, right? I'm trying to mentally liberate with information and education, because in that world, education, information, and application is more important than money.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, trading, investing, the only way to get good at something is to do it, to practice at it, to work at it, to study it. It's develop the skill set that's involved. Like, they'll look at somebody, like people like me will look at somebody like you and be upset that they're not as good at it as you. Well, it's the skill set, and if I'm willing to learn it, I can have it, right? Like if you're not, so I tell some of our team members all the time when they're like, I'm not where I want to be. I want to be where he's at. I'm like, well, he's better than you. She's better than you. That's all that it is. Just learn what they know, develop the skills that they've developed.
Put in the work.
And you're right there.
I was laughing and smiling because last night, 12 hours ago, I was doing some jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu at Triangle Academy in Franklin, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a pretty large dude. And so I was rolling with some...
How tall are you?
6'4".
6'4".
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, 6'4", 210. And so I'm rolling with some of these guys who are, man, I mean like 5'8", 5'9", $150, just crushing me. I was the mop, man. Like the floor was dirty and I was the mop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's amazing because I've done jiu-jitsu like on a 1 to 10 scale, I'm a 2.3 around there. But these guys are 6, 7, 8s and I'm just getting absolutely dominated. Half my size literally just crushing me because they have the skill set that they've practiced and they've mastered and they're so good at it. It's a phenomenal example. Because no matter what you do, you are going to suck at it. You're not going to know the words, the verbiage, the jargon, the technology, the buttons. You're not going to know what to buy, how much to spend. You're going to be an absolute moron for the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Be a moron. Get in. Go do it. Fail. Fail miserably. Fail forward.
And don't quit. Yeah, that's the Michael Jordan quote. I've never seen an infant or a person that when they were learning to walk and they were falling down all the time said, this ain't for me.
Don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, this walking stuff ain't for me.
Yep, so true.
And even we learned, like, you can study riding a bicycle. I'm sure there's a lot of great YouTube clips and all kinds of stuff, but until you actually get on it and learn the balance and all that stuff, you're not going to be able to.
Did you fall when you started riding a bicycle?
I fell doing everything.
Yeah, dude, me too. I was so bad. I didn't actually learn how to ride a bike until I was like 9.5 or 10. So 6 to 9.5, I was a moron. Just couldn't figure it out. Mm-hmm. So my dad took me on top of a hill, Windy Hill Road, pushes me off. Like, best of luck, bro. Like, I'm flying down this hill, and I'm so terrified. Like, if I fall, I was going 40 miles an hour in my mind. It's probably like 3 miles an hour, but I'm 9. It's going down this huge, steep, like, dirt road. If I fall, it's game over. And dude, I get to the bottom, know how to ride a bike now. So essentially put, like all that time, pain, energy, knees, scars, all the things from falling, that's going to happen, right? My man Les Brown says if you fall, make sure you fall on your back because if you can look up, you can get up.
Oh, man, dude.
You know? So yeah, you're going to fall, you're going to fail. It's all going to happen. Just keep going. Don't give up. Learn from it. Make mistakes. Do it brilliantly.
That's it. That's it. The, oh man, I had something good. I think it was good. It may not have been very good. But again, everything's a skill. You're not supposed to be great at anything at the beginning. If it's that easy, then everybody would do it. And I heard a thing the other day too, where if the top 4% make X amount of dollars, and everybody that you hang out with is a part of the 96%. Like if you can't hang out with them and have what they don't have. Or have more than they have, I guess I should say. Like you have to do what the 4% are doing. I saw a clip or a photo yesterday. So there's a reason that a Lamborghini has 2 seats and the bus has 60.
Never heard that before. Love it.
Oh, dude.
Love it.
There's so much gold out there with that kind of stuff. I think a lot of people like us take it for granted because we're exposed to it so much.
Yeah, that's true.
And most people just are not.
That's what I want to do, man. I want to help expose more individuals. That's why I made all this stuff for free. Because I'll go to schools, high schools, colleges, elementary schools. I'm like, it's free.
Mm-hmm.
What are you waiting on? Because then you get to go, they think about it and they're like, because now there's the excuse is gone.
Yeah.
And then some will absolutely go forward and they'll take it and they'll go through it. But then the fear of, I don't want to start something and not finish. I don't want to start something and fail and be bad at it. Those are the fears that kind of come up subconsciously or consciously, and it's always brilliant discussions.
The fight's only over when somebody quits, right? Until then, it's still going, and it's the same when you're learning something. As long as you're not quitting, as long as you're still doing it, you can still get it.
Yeah.
You can still have it. You can still have all that stuff. All right, well, let me get back to this piece of paper here. So we're doing good on time. Yeah, we're good.
I'm
Awesome.
stoked.
This is great. So do you think we gave enough? Do you think we gave enough to the experts out there, the guys that are tuning in because they've been wanting to hear from you today? Like what can you say? What should you say? What do you want to say?
I can say everything, man. There's when it comes to investing or trading or the markets, if you're listening in on this, cryptocurrencies, I've been preaching it for a long time. And a lot of people are fearful because they don't know what it is. It's too volatile. It doesn't have any value. Let me tell you the value of Bitcoin for just a moment, because people are listening. I want them to hear this. About 2.5 months ago, there was a transaction on the blockchain for $980 million worth of Bitcoin.
Okay.
So $980 million US dollars of Bitcoin exchanged hands from one address to another address across the globe. That transaction took 13 seconds and cost $33, I believe.
Wow.
Now, you move large sums of money frequently, probably. How hard would that be?
There's a million hurdles to do so, and signatures needed, and
lawyers and bankers, and you're wiring and wire fees, and I mean, you're talking $1 billion.
All those people are getting paid to do whatever they're doing.
I mean, just closing on a house is ridiculous.
Yes,
right?
it
Like,
is.
the amount of fees just for that is just crazy town. That transaction shows the value of crypto assets, and specifically Bitcoin and the blockchain. A lot of people say, well, it's not built on anything. It's just because you don't know code. It's because you don't know cryptography. You haven't studied it. I don't know it very well, but I've studied it more than you have, most likely. And I know that transaction happened. And it went from one country to another country, across borders, without anyone that could say yes or no, without anyone that could stop that. No one could say no to that transaction. That transaction happened. It could have been for land, for a home, for whatever, who knows. But long story short, that is value. That's what value is. Value for money is the ability to exchange and utilize from one person to another person on a code that's transactable. That's what money is. So crypto assets, cryptocurrency, specifically blockchain technology, is going to revolutionize this planet. And if you are not in some version of a crypto asset, you dislike technology, you dislike the future, and you're being hard-headed because you don't understand it and you haven't taken time to learn it.
And it's still early.
Super early.
So you're still an early adopter. You're not late.
Dude, this is like real estate in Manhattan in 1920.
Oh, that's a great way to
Yeah.
analyze that.
Super early. I mean, the internet's been around, 35 years-ish?
Yeah.
Bitcoin blockchain's been around 9.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more room left.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Marcus Whitney told me one time, he was like, 8% of people are early adopters. And I was like, well, what does that mean? He was like, the people that are in line at the Apple Store for the new iPhone release, they're the 8%. They're early adopters. And I was like, okay, cool. I was not brought up to be that way. So like, I was brought up to when you said it was volatile. Well, the 96% play it safe.
Yep.
And the 4% don't. How can you play it safe and win big?
100%. I mean, the answer is some math and some studying. You have to understand a pretty basic second degree math, good old percentages and addition and subtraction. If you can spend a little bit of time or go through an education or go through a course to learn this, you can absolutely nail it. Example, say you have $100,000. Crypto on average moves 6% a day, depending on what you're in. But on average, it moves 6% a day.
So what does that mean to the average person? Is that a lot or a little?
That's enormous.
Enormous.
Yeah. So the S&P 500 moves on average 0.25%.
There you go.
Yeah. So you're talking, what is that, 300% more than the S&P moves per day. So yes, it's volatile, but if you know your risk on any asset, any investment that you make, your worst case scenario, that is defined risk. If you buy anything, the risk is that it goes to zero. It can be Apple, Facebook, Google. If you invest in it, the risk is it goes to zero. So if you invest into Bitcoin with $2,000, your absolute worst case scenario is you lose $2,000.
Right.
There's still things that are called stop losses. You can buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, or you can buy Litecoin, or you can buy Cosmos, or you can buy Matic or Polygon. you can take the amount of money that you have, put in $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, put a stop loss. So if it does go down 10%, right, you get out. So you invest $4,000. Potentially you can lose 10% of that, which is $400. Or, I mean, that's a 2-day move. Or it goes up 90%, 100%. You double your money.
Right.
So you risked $400 to make $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's called good money management.
That's right.
I'll do that all day, man.
That's
I'll
right.
do that all day. And with cryptos, like over the course of a week or two, with a little bit of studying, a little bit of knowledge, I think it's relatively easy to do 30% a month, which is a crazy number to a lot of people. That's a scary number. That sounds like there's no way that's too good to be true. Tom Brady gets paid $12 million a year on a bad year. It's not too good to be true. You just got to put in the work and the time.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Well, that was actually something that I was hoping we were going to get into today was the crypto stuff, because our mutual buddy Chris Rimbolt, who was episode 4, I believe.
Yep.
And we talked about some awesome stuff that day.
I love that guy.
From flat Earth to dude, it got deep. We nerded out. So, but he was one of the first people that started talking to me about crypto, and it was based on conversations that you guys have had. And I know he's done extremely well in you guys' professional relationship outside of friends. It's been extremely fruitful for him and his family, which is fantastic.
He's up like 1,200% in a year.
And
that's bananas.
He's the perfect example of somebody, though, that takes the knowledge, the tools that you're providing for him, and then he's expanding on those, and that leads to more questions and more tools and more knowledge from you, because now he's in a place where he can receive it.
Oh, of course. And I have mentors in not only this space, but other space. I don't know all the answers to everything, and I'll be very clear when I don't. I have a very, very, very specific skill set, and it's a skill set that requires very little time to implement, but once you can master that skill set, you can do it from anywhere in the world, as long as you have an internet connection. And Chris Rimbolt, but I have another friend named Chris Stanley, Christopher West. I work with Chris's only.
You guys have an unbelievable pod of folks. Like,
it's a strong tribe. It's a strong tribe because it's a group of individuals who know that it works. They've proven it time and time again. I have a guy named Leland Warren. I just met recently I had an event at the Turks and Caicos, and he was there. And this guy, man, has paid for his wife to go through like 4 degrees. She has her doctorate, her master's, like two master's degrees, like 3 or 4 bachelor's degrees. He's paid for all of her education through trading. You know, he's entirely financially free. He's a liquid millionaire. He retired from the Army, and like he knows that it works. Did it happen in a month? No, but it works. It's a true and tried methodology that you can amplify information through proper application.
You mentioned he's a veteran. Like most people, when they're done serving, they may not have a lot of money, but they've accumulated a certain amount because they're not spending it as they're getting paid, right? So, I know we love our vets.
100%, man.
Here,
USA Sox, baby.
That's right.
Yeah,
and they're like, when we're interviewing those folks, those are my favorite people that we seek them. So first of all, if you're a veteran and you're not happy doing what you're doing, I want to interview you. I want to talk to you. But are there any specific programs for guys like that? Like if I was getting out today, you should be my first call.
100%, because I actually have an entire department, team, and resources that are dedicated just to our veterans. My uncle, my dad, my brothers. I'm the only guy in our family who didn't go to the military.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Because I'm a pansy and I'm weak, but
me too. Me too.
But I'm fully on board with it. And my uncle, you know, he's a retired Marine. He had his legs blown off in Vietnam. Like he is, you know, is in a wheelchair permanently. But I talk to him weekly, and you're talking about the people that dedicate their lives to make this country the greatest country in the world. But more importantly than that, we need to serve them.
Amen.
Right? We need to some degree. Doesn't have it can be money, time, experience, knowledge, whatever. They have money. They have discipline. They know what it's like to just take absolute brutal punishment, but at the same time, they need to be rewarded with some gold after all of this work.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have Real Life Trading Military, which is an entire military organization that works just with current or former veterans or people in the military.
That's fantastic. I have a lot of contacts
man.
that are doing that. And so, like, all right, folks,
Hello.
that's right. all of our vets, you need to get in touch with Jerremy and the team. So when I was done playing ball, I was 27 years old.
Yep.
And I didn't make enough money to live off of, right? So I'm basically 27 years old, and it's almost like getting out of college, except all my friends had been in the workforce for like 5 years. So it was almost like starting from behind. And I would imagine that from a veteran's perspective, they might feel that to a certain degree.
Of course.
You know what I mean? The only difference is they will have some liquidity to them that I was the opposite of that.
They're gonna have something, and it's a beautiful arrangement. It's not a perfect arrangement, but it's an arrangement that's, like you said, at least they're there. There's some type of launch pad. There are communities, there are tribes, there are people who are willing to pour into our servicemen and women. Right. One of my best friends is it was a 20-year Green Beret. His name is Jerremy Locke. Wow. I call him Captain America. Mm-hmm. And he took his. I'm gonna mess it up. There's a term for money that you're given for really crazy special operations, whatever that's called. Mm-hmm. That's not severance money, but whatever it's called, some type of money that our very brave men and women get for doing crazy, insane things. Well, he took all that money and during COVID started doing investing for the first time ever. And I think he took $11,000 and turned it into $98,000.
Wow.
Which was just ridiculous for him. And he took that money and bought some real estate with it, started renting it out, right? Sold his properties and making more money. And so then he's taking this money. Now he's funding trips all around the world for him and other servicemen and women who need it so they can go to countries to provide aid like Haiti, Honduras, Ecuador, Tajikistan. Like he's everywhere right now, all through his financial capabilities and knowing that he could retire early because of his knowledge, man, his financial acumen.
That's why it's people like him that I started this show. There's so many amazing stories that should be told every single day. Yeah. And first of all, I'm going to need that. I'm going to need to get him in here.
Let's make that happen.
I'm going to need to get him in here for sure because that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Well, dude, we got to give back. We got to give back to those people. Not just, we got to give back to everybody. But we definitely we should start with the people that serve us first.
I'm with you, my man.
Absolutely. All right. So let's see. This has been freaking amazing. So I've got a little note down here, some topics. All right, and as we kind of start to bring this home, so I've got retiring on 3K, how to grow a modest investment into a comfortable retirement, day trading 101. Take the first step. How to reshape your beliefs about money. Ooh, we talked about that a lot already. Knowing the difference between fear and greed. We touched on that too. Buying stock at a lower price using stock options. You talked about that, dude. What is like? It's so cool having you here. I got to bring you back first of all. I know I might feel like I say that a lot. You're coming back. You're coming back. I get so intrigued with the people that have been here. Have been so amazing.
Yes. You attract amazing people, man.
Well. My wife attracts amazing people.
Right.
I get to ride that train.
I can't disagree with that, unfortunately.
I get to ride that train. As a matter of fact, being an insurance client, you get to deal with her, and you dealt with me first. And I made the smart move of saying, "Hey, you probably want to talk to Rhiannon on some of these things." It's way better, right?
All good. It's perfect. It's phenomenal. She's great.
All right. So, first of all, so you mentioned trips. I wanted to talk about that. So not only do you have access to like your clients travel the world with you and you guys grow together?
Yeah.
Right. So real life trading, the business, what are the main branches, including the events and stuff like that? I know the book is fantastic. I have a copy it needs to be on the front desk in the room up there with some of the other ones. But so that's a great book to check out.
Thank you.
All right. But so if somebody was interested in getting, all right, I want to call Jerremy and see what I can do. What would that experience look like?
It'd be a tough experience. You'd have to pull out your phone and go either to Instagram, YouTube, or you can type in 352-246-4596, which is the cell phone number in my pocket. It's tough, man. They'd have to reach out. It's really hard.
That's fantastic.
It's a crazy challenge.
So you get people involved.
Yeah.
And then talk to me about the event. So I remember the first time you did one, that was when kind of the event space for stuff like this was kind of, you were one of the first people, like there was really big ones and then there was none.
Yes, exactly. So you have hey, we have 1,000 people, $99 seats come, and you know it's going to be a pitch-a-thon. Like, you know that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do pitch-a-thons. I was like, hey, pay enough where it's valuable, it's worth your time, but we have somewhere between 20 and 30 people, and that's it. Right? So it's a very limited amount. I don't want a whole lot of people because I want to pour in, I want to serve. I'm there, and we're creating experiences they'll remember forever. Literally a week ago, it's me and 6 other individuals, plus my leadership team, so 12 people total. And we do a 6 a.m. hike, 7 a.m. hike, ice baths right after.
Yeah, they're the best.
Right? Ice baths right after, and then we start talking about stocks around my living room, drinking coffee and warming up from the ice bath. That's an experience, right? That one happened to be free. So getting in on experiences, getting in around these individuals, being able to pour in, I want to cater towards more of a really pinpoint focused group. And because the large events, although I do host some of them, I like to do just the smaller ones because it just feels more intimate. And it feels like you get to know people on a personal level. And once they know your genuineness and your authenticity, they will be more inclined to spread the message and tell other people. In June of next year, we're going to have we rented a yacht in the Mediterranean. We're going to get 30 people.
Oh my gosh.
On this. It's a balling yacht. It's huge.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We're going to cruise around the Med for a week.
That's incredible.
Like just the small stuff. I'm like, well, let's do it. It's just money. Like, boop,
that's right.
Credit card. Let's go.
That's right.
Put the deposit on it this morning, actually.
How about that?
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's what makes, besides the knowledge, that's what separates you from everybody else is you actually seek the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? And that's...
You taught me that, man.
Oh, shoot.
You got to... It is. Seek the relationship. Because if it's a money transaction, people are going to know that very early on. And I knew that, but I wanted to make it more about the relationship. So I'm like, hey, call me on my phone. This is my phone number. I'm here. People respect people's time. They know that I have a family and that they know that people are working. Or they get it. So just help them. Pour into them. Like, I don't need your money. Let's just have a relationship. Let's see where it goes. And if you become richer, you'll tell more people. My company will grow. It's just a natural way it works.
Most people get so attached to their money. That's why they want to save it, right? They want to hold it close, hold it tight to their chest. So a great example of who you are as a person. So how long did it take you to grow your beard? Not the one we see today. Those of you that are watching this on camera. Yeah. So like it was like down to...
Yeah, man. It was a solid nipple beard.
Like it was big.
A good year and a half. Like that was Forrest Gump beard style.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
And tell the folks how you came about shaving it.
So in my event, Money Grows on Trees, it was the Turks and Caicos, and I had another gentleman named Chris Short. He wanted to have a competition, a chess competition, because I'm really, really bad at chess. And so he's like, yeah, let me play the worst person here. He had a long beard too. He grew out a beard for a year and a half. So we did a charity for chess match where the loser donated money to the winner's charity. Mine was Ronald McDonald and his was St. Jude. And so
incredible.
We played some chess. I'm bad at chess for anyone who's listening or watching. I've played 15 or 16 times. My only strategy is take the other guy's pieces.
Right.
So I'm just like, boom, boom. Like I'm taking pieces left and right. And he's using strategy. What?
Yeah.
I don't know what strategy is. So anyway, we play for 30 minutes. Boom. I lose. And then we start making bets. Not bets, sorry. Like who wants to shave my beard? Auction style.
Oh, wow.
Right there on the spot. He brought clippers. And when my buddy Ross won for $2,800. So $2,800 more dollars gets donated to St. Jude. Just shaves my beard around the spot.
A year and a half.
Yeah, man.
Just like that.
Yep, that's it.
Just like that. But that's such a great analogy for life, money, like physical things. If you have, if you treated money like a person, like if you care about other people, you're always saying, what can I do to make that person's life better? What can I do to make that person better? You're doing the same thing for the money. And, but like just the fact that like, I know just for Halloween, I had to shave this and it's like I keep it real short. It literally takes 10 days to grow back. And even then it was like, oh man, is this really something that I'm going to do? Like I thought way too hard about it. Like I'm embarrassed to even say it. And he took a year and a half and just knocked it right out. And how long did it take you to make that decision? Like when you were just like,
It was immediate. Yeah, it was instantaneous and no issue.
I mean, you've had, your head's been shaved as well.
Dude, yes. I have this changes frequently, you know, which my wife is like, when I come home, she has no idea what I'm going to look like. I could be bald. I could have no beard, full beard. You know, my eyebrows are gone. Like, you never know because it's like, what? They're going to grow back. Who cares?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And and a lot of times we put way too much emphasis on those physical characteristics. So again, for me, they're either assets or liabilities. And if you spend too much time worried about it, it's totally a liability.
I agree with you.
My wife's in the background probably saying, I'm going to remind you of that next time the blow dryer's out.
That's right. That's right. Liability, Nick.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right. So
you're the coolest, dude. You're so cool.
So you have an amazing YouTube channel. So just, all right, what are some places that you recommend for folks that just want to learn more about your space?
Yeah.
Before they even call, after they call, whatever it may be, before they reach out to you to do that. You have a great YouTube. Obviously, we mentioned the book a couple times. What are some places that you recommend people go out to seek some knowledge?
Truly, if you want to know way more about me than you would ever want to, broketowoke.com is our podcast with myself and my business partner and best friend, Brittany Turner. I kind of give my whole life story. But it's really like, hey, I failed. Here's what I learned. I failed. Here's what I learned. That's pretty much season 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Here's all of our failures. What's the thing that you should not do?
Right.
Because of all these mistakes. You'll learn a lot about there. JerremyNewsome.com. You know, my name is spelled with 2 R's. My dad's name was Jerry. So it's Jerry and me. That's how that happened.
How cool. I didn't know that.
Thanks, Mom.
That's it. But that's awesome. I misspelled your name for at least the first 5 years that I knew you.
No worries.
And then for some reason, I remember thinking, well, it's my phone's fault. It always autocorrected it, right? I'm blaming the autocorrect.
Yes. So JerremyNewsome.com. But yeah, real life trading, my YouTube channel, it's nowhere near as large as a lot of, let's say ESPN, right?
Right?
People care about sports and information and entertainment way more than they care about stocks and finances. And it's an interesting parallel.
That's their own fault.
It's their own fault. I mean, I saw a video the other day, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett's top 10 rules for success, like 120,000 views. Right next to it was ESPN's top 10 plays from last weekend, 12.3 million views.
Yeah.
I was like, well, there you go. But anyway, yeah, real life trading, just search that. You'll find me everywhere. You'll watch all my videos. Dude, I have an amazing, amazing team that they help me out with other content, other videos, other information. If you want to learn how to invest and just grow your net worth, grow your cash flow, learn to do it through real life trading.
You said your YouTube isn't huge. It's blowing up.
It's blowing up. Yeah. I mean, it
is blowing up.
Thanks, man.
It is blowing up. Honestly, the first time this has been a while, but I remember the first time it may have been the first time I was exposed to the podcast. I just saw a clip on YouTube. I looked down there and I was just blown away at the engagement on that sucker.
Thank you, man.
And then sure enough, so my son and I watch a lot of videos when we work out. That's our thing, is whether it be a concert or he watches adult podcasts with me. He's reading, he's reading the Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Ethan's so cool.
Kiyosaki. He really is. He's amazing. But we watch, your YouTube is on our playlist. Awesome. That we do that kind of stuff because and he asks the best questions that I can't answer.
He's the man.
So he's going to be a client as well.
Love it.
Absolutely. All right. So I've got some contact information here. Jerremy Newsome at Gmail, JerremyNewsome.com, LinkedIn's Jerremy-Newsome, Twitter, Newsome Nuggets. Love that.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that'll shout out to a guy named Blake Schleider. He helped me create that years ago. I was like, dude, you drop nuggets all the time of wisdom. Use some nuggets. And I was like, man, sounds good.
That's fantastic. And Facebook's Jerremy.Newsome with 2 T's. You heard all about the YouTube and everything else. So anything else that you want to get out to tell the folks about anything else that's going on, upcoming? I don't know. What you got?
There's everything, guys. I'm doing everything all the time. It's just reach out to me and let me know how you can be a part, if you want to be a part, everything from, we have kids programs to military veteran programs. We have all the education that people could want when it comes to finances, everything from debt reduction to, trading option derivatives with spreads. You know, we can go as deep or as shallow as you need to learn and go through your journey. So don't be afraid. It's going to take time. It's going to take money. Everything takes time or money. So just get in there. Get in there. Let's go.
Fantastic. Well, dude, thanks so much for hanging today. We've been rocking and rolling, maybe like an hour 20.
I know, man. Loving every second.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much. I'm going to have you back for sure. I'm going to have you back for sure. And I want to share the stage with you one day. I want to sit on some high top stools and talk to some folks.
Let's do that. Let's do that. We need to create something. That'd be phenomenal.
Absolutely. I love to create, especially with folks like you. So, all right. Jerremy Newsome, Real Life Trading, thanks so much for being here, folks. This has been another episode of The Hit Streak. Do me a favor. We are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Click that subscribe button, baby. Click that subscribe button.
Hit it hard.
Lots of great stories from amazing people, just like Jerremy right here, guys. So thanks so much for hanging with us, folks. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. Thanks for tuning into The Hit Streak. God bless.